Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to greet you all from the UNDP's Istanbul Regional Hub. I am Saran Salenga. Welcome you to all of you to our 13th webinar of the ODA Learning Series, brought to you by UNDP and OECD. We have a very, very interesting topic today and a great lineup of speakers, and most importantly, a very, very special moderator here with us today. Ana Fernandez is the head of Foresight Outreach and Policy Reform Unit of OECD's Development Cooperation Directorate. And most importantly, she is our partner in organizing the ODA Learning Series. Thank you so much for the partnership, Anna, and thank you for moderating today's session. May I hand over to you now?
Sure, it's a pleasure, and it's also a pleasure to partner with UNDP on this important series. And in fact, I'm just here to moderate, but the real boss is Sydney, as you know. So I wanted to acknowledge that he's the one in the team that is really partnering with you in a permanent basis, and we are very glad to be with you in this partnership. And we hope that we can also bring the expertise from the OECD to share it with all of you and to learn from all of you. That's why we are here. So with no further delay, and if you allow me, we could start by presenting what will be the agenda for today and our speakers. So as you know, today we will be discussing deploying development expertise, the challenges, the opportunities, concrete examples. And we have four interesting speakers that will share with us not only their reflections, but also their concrete expertise involved on concrete projects. So we have Konstantin Kulikov, which is the counselor in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. We have Angela Sima. I don't know if you all could also then afterwards put your video so people recognize you when presenting. So Angela, it's a Council of Programs Department of ODA, which you know it's the Romanian Agent for International Development Cooperation. We also have Giri Muzilek, which is the head of Civil Emergency Preparedness Department on the Ministry of Interior, Director General from Czech Republic. And we also have Firuz, and here, I'm sorry to say, it's very difficult to pronounce your last name, but I will try nevertheless, so don't be offended if I didn't got it properly. Sadakazeyev is more or less like that. I hope so. If not, you will tell me in the chat, and feel free to insult me. Firuz is also the Senior Economic Development Officer, UNDP Tajikistan. So welcome to everyone, and I think with also no further delay, we would kick off our first presentation, if that's okay with you. Yes, I think Konstantin is online.
If you could just, yeah, thank you very much.
Fantastic. So Konstantin, besides being the counselor at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, he has a huge experience also in managing and UN funds and programs, and he was also representing Russian Federation in the UN, and he also represented and engaged in the framework of Russian UNDP partnership, and it's engaged in the implementation of the Trust Fund for development, including knowledge management, aimed to scale up mechanisms of Russian expertise sharing in different formats with UNDP partner countries. So he was also previously first secretary, as I mentioned, of the permanent mission of the Russian Federation to the United Nations, and he held several posts within the ministry. He also holds a degree from the Moscow State Institute of International Relations and the diplomatic rank of first secretary. Over to you, and we will be very pleased to listen your experience.
Yes, thank you very much. Welcome all. thank you for inviting me to present an overview of expertise deployment modalities. If you can switch to my presentation, that would be great.
Konstantin, I think we can see your presentation in the screen.
Okay, awesome. Hopefully my presentation will help to understand how emerging donors like my country share expertise in various areas to contribute to the achievement of the SDGs in developing countries worldwide, especially under such harsh circumstances induced by modern global pandemic. So on this slide, you see the 5 modalities of expertise deployment in use, including experts on demand, internships program, volunteering program, and secondment program, and junior professional officer program. Experts on Demand is an instrument for knowledge and know-how sharing via rapid deployment of experts for consultancies and peer-to-peer knowledge sharing, widely used by Russia, Czechia, and Slovakia. Mostly with UNDP partnership, we have individual and institutional modalities. Individual are up to 3 months and institutional up to 6 months, in more than 17 thematic areas in 11 eligible countries. As far as we know, Czechia also has individual assignments for up to 90 days, namely in providing technical expertise, expert consulting, and preparation of feasibility studies in various areas ranging from energy efficiency to care economy in 6 eligible countries. And in Slovak, there are some longer-term technical assistance in public finance, management, and other related fields. Internship program is used by Russia UNDP partnerships. This includes 2-3 weeks internship of Russian students and recent graduates with the Moscow partnership team, with missions from 8 to 16 weeks to selected country offices or also Istanbul regional hub. UN Volunteers program, Russia supports fully funded program aimed to from 1 to 2 years of deployment of our citizens as specialists or youth UN volunteers in UN agencies, field offices, or RC offices worldwide, resident coordinator offices. Secondment program is used extensively by Czech and Slovak partnerships. It involves the work of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Finances staff, and usually upon return from assignments, the secondees continue working at the respective ministries. And the last JPO, usually it engages people under 32 with a master's degree and 2-4 years of relevant work experience, strongly committed to international development issues to gain hands-on experience in multilateral technical cooperation and international development. Currently, my country is operating this modality with UN Secretariat and ILO, and also we are exploring other entities, primarily UNDP. As I represent the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, I will focus today on the modalities that have been actively used under the framework of the Russia-UNDP partnership and cooperation with other UN agencies. Next slide, please. So first of all, a couple of words about the partnership itself. It evolved in 2015 and emphasized the growing role of Russia as a donor in advancing the development agenda. With the support of the established Russia UNDP Trust Fund for Development, 39 projects in 30 countries were financed, with more than 3 million of direct beneficiaries and 15 million of indirect beneficiaries. The partnership always puts special emphasis on expertise and knowledge sharing. Hence, we launched the regional project Knowledge Management and Capacity Building, structured around several activities which serve as mechanisms for facilitating sharing Russian expertise to achieve sustainable, scalable development impact in partner countries. One of the mechanisms is the database of Russian experts for international developments, which accumulates distinguished experts' profiles in 17 thematic areas. The database is a useful tool to facilitate the application of Russian expertise, not only in the Trust Fund project, but also other activities such as partner events, webinars, and meetings. And I'm also proud to say that other agencies involved in our project activities have also expressed keen interest in this instrument. The efforts that the partnership puts in expertise deployment eventually strengthen linkages between governmental bodies, local institutions, and partner countries.
Can I, Konstantin, can I ask you one question here? I think a very interesting presentation, and we can see the impact of such a partnership already. But I would like you to tell us a little bit how you think the initiative has contributed to strengthen that horizontal linkages, because I think this is one of the fundamental areas where deploying capacity is important. These linkages between partner countries, governmental bodies, institutions, and so on. So could you give us a concrete example? How do you think this is contributing to that?
Yes, basically, if someone has strong interest in that, you can always check our experts database. It's expertsfordevelopment.ru, which also contains some graphic reports on our mutual experience. But to highlight the brightest examples, one of which is cooperation of the Technological University of Dushanbe in Tajikistan with the Russian Research Tomsk State University on innovative ideas of computer programming, which was facilitated by the Russian experts working on the assignment of technoparks with the universities of Subt region in Tajikistan. One of the recent examples also the Russian urban development consulting company Strelka KB, which was hired by colleagues in Armenia to transform Yerevan's Sokolyagan urban environment in early this year. During the assignment, our experts engaged in many national urban specialists. Also, the largest Russian telecommunication company, Yandex, conducted research of the road traffic in the streets around Sokolyagan area in Yerevan, jointly with the national Armenian specialists. Another example is also the lasting cooperation between our Russian Federal State Statistics Service, Rosstat, and the Central Statistical Committee of Turkmenistan. Experts from Rosstat have been and still are engaged in assignments in Turkmenistan on statistics, software tools, national accounts, and related topics. This continuous exchange also includes such institutions as the Central Bank of Russian Federation, and we also have such modalities with UNFPA as well. Hope that satisfies.
Thank you very much for sharing that concrete examples with us, and please continue.
Can I have the next slide, please? So one of the most important modalities of expertise deployment is the Experts on Demand program under the Knowledge Management project, which facilitates rapid deployment of our experts from the database that I mentioned to UNDP country programs around the world, with a focus, of course, on the CIS region. Since 2017, more than 70 Russian experts have been engaged in the program in 11 countries. The modality has a significant number of advantages. For instance, the experts respond to specific requests, which makes a very targeted impact. Also, the process of deployment is simple and fast. At the same time, modality is flexible and can be customized depending on the desired format, whether it is an individual consultancy for like 20 days or mentorship during several months, or even large-scale consultations of the institution for half a year. And also, like us, it's almost immune to COVID-19 as the assignments can be moved to the online format. Can I have the next slide, please? Sorry, I don't see my...
We can see the slide. We can see.
Okay, awesome. Hopefully it's about internships. That's
yes,
another successful modality which is implemented in partnership and with financial support from the leading Russian university specializing in foreign affairs, GIMO. Since 2017, 30 interns have been deployed to 6 countries within the framework of this project. The youth learn a lot during the internships. They get familiar with the region-specific issues, gain professional experience, and at the same time contribute to the partner countries by providing fresh ideas and perspectives and delivering results that can be further used by national partners. And the last slide, please. So the last but not the least, the volunteering program. This modality for deployment development expertise promotes ideas of volunteerism while also creating a pool of Russian volunteers who are interested in offline and online assignments with different UN entities and RC offices, strengthening partnerships with volunteering organizations, increasing the number of our citizens presented into the UN system, and helps to facilitate the sharing of Russian expertise and mutual learning on volunteerism. This full funding program engages more than 30 Russian nationals to countries around the world, and in the next 2 years we plan to deploy around 20 more UN volunteers. It actually proved to be of high demand with the UN family. Each year we are receiving numerous requests, and often the participants' assignments get extended by the initiative of the host agencies. So that's practically it, and I'm passing the floor to you, Madam Moderator.
Thanks, Konstantin. Very comprehensive, very clear. I'm sure we will have questions after the presentations to the program, and very interesting to learn from the experience and the expertise that is being deployed. I would now move to the next speaker, Angela. I think you are there. I could see, yes, I can see your presentation already. So Angela, as I mentioned, we are still seeing Konstantin, but I hope we see Angela very soon. Konstantin already did his presentation, so he doesn't have another slot now. But Angela, as I mentioned before, she's working as a counselor with the program department of ODA, which is, as you know, the Romanian Agency for International Development Cooperation. Since she's working there since 2018. She's also currently in charge of the relationship with OECD DAC. So we are very familiar also with her in our constellation, I would say. And she's a member of several networks, European networks, like the Practitioners Network for European Development Cooperation. She has a strong experience in working in civil society organizations, also on project management and implementation of development projects. And she's a graduate of the management faculty of the Academy of Economic Studies of Bucharest. Angela, over to you, and very nice to have you. Welcome.
Thank you, Anna. Good morning to everyone. It's a great pleasure to meet you all today. And thank you, UNDP and the OECD, for the invitation to share the agency's experience in deploying development expertise. I would start by saying a few words regarding Romania's engagement in development cooperation. Next slide, please. Okay, so as you all know, Romania's development cooperation was launched in 2007, following the country's accession to the European Union. And as a main advantage since the beginning, it was positions regarding the transfer of its direct experience and knowledge in the democratic transition and Euro-Atlantic integration process. Next slide, please. Since 2008, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs had a strategic agreement with UNDP, which acted as a temporary agency for the implementation of ODA projects financed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So as you will see also in my presentation, there will be traces of the same method UNDP applied in all the countries that it supported in the ODA programs. The Romanian Agency for International Development Cooperation, ROAID, was established in 2016, along with the elaboration of the first law on development cooperation and humanitarian assistance, and it became operational in 2018, when also UNDP has ceased to do this consulting for the implementation of ODA projects in Romania. Next slide, please. So the ROAID agency is a public entity subordinated to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which has an explicit mandate to implement projects and programs in the field of international development cooperation and humanitarian aid, and facilitate the transfer of expertise from public institutions and authorities to Romania's ODA partners. Next slide, please. Regarding the modalities used by ROAID to deploy the Romanian expertise in partner countries, those modalities are two. One refer to mainly to projects that are proposed in partnership with Romanian public entities, and they are approved in the annual plan of actions. So they include expertise transfer missions and other related actions that have to be planned in advance. The projects are verified and so they are based on verified and consolidated partnerships. The second modality on which I will focus my my presentation today, which we consider it's an very interesting tool and innovative, is the Mobility Fund for Experts, which is a fast response to expertise transfer needs in partner countries that can be used as seed funding to explore new projects and partnerships. So it has this both sides impact.
Can I ask you, you mentioned innovation here and an innovative tool. Can I ask you, tell us a little bit, what do you think is the most innovative aspect of that program when explaining it? Because I know you're going to focus on these funds for experts in your presentation also.
Yes, even if the Mobility Fund for Experts has a tradition since 2013, and it was initiated by UNDP in Romania, we consider the most innovative aspect it's related to the access it gives to experts brought from Romania and partner countries, from various institutions, public and private institutions. Within this fund, they can deploy a variety of actions in a short period of time, and there is a great potential for further development and scale up of these short-term actions in the future. I will go into details and explain how this or what this means in my following slides, if it's okay with you.
Yes, perfect. I think you touched 2 points that are very important: short time to deliver and also scaling up innovation. So I think that's quite interesting to hear from you. Please continue.
Yes, thank you. Next slide, please. And most importantly, it's that this tool, this fund, was initiated by UNDP, and we as a public institution have succeeded in maintaining this flexibility and its innovative aspects in the beginning, which is a challenge usually in public institutions. So the Mobility Fund for Experts finances ad hoc missions that are based on the demand of the beneficiary institution from the partner countries, And here all the ODA eligible countries according to OECD DAC are eligible for applying to the fund. It is necessary that the Romanian expertise is relevant for that field. And during these 2 years, 2018, 2019, the main sectors that were approached regarding the competition policy, energy sector, emergency services management, anti-corruption, local development, urban development, a lot of missions, we would say 16 missions with more than 100 experts were involved in these 2 years. 13 of them, 13 of the missions were deployed in Romania and 3 in partner countries. Next slide, please. We say this program is very flexible because there is a permanent application process all during the year, of course, within the approved budget. But if we have a lot of requests, we can also be flexible with the budget and make adjustment during the year if these demands are relevant for the Romanian expertise. So the evaluation is very fast. We try to evaluate all the requests in maximum five days. As I said, experts from public and private institutions are eligible. So if there is a training in a partner country, the Romanian experts that should deliver the training may apply to get the funding for their activities. And if it's the case of experts from the partner countries that want to come to visit Romania, some institutions or some programs, they apply for the project, for the support. So the type of actions is very wide. It can include participation in workshops, working meetings, and visits, consultancies, or training activities. There are covered the cost for travels, and there is a precondition we ask that missions are agreed and scheduled between the institutions involved in the expertise in advance of the application, so that the funding and the organization of the mission can be performed quickly. And so if all the details are already set up when they apply to the fund, we are able to evaluate and finance it in short time. So I think that's these are the most relevant aspects of our mobility fund for experts, and I'm available for any other questions may arise during this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Angela. I think for sure we will have questions afterwards, and thanks for sharing such an interesting experience also. We will move now to our next speaker. I don't see him yet in the video, but I hope the connection is working and everything is fine. So Iri Muzilek is going to talk to us about the Czech UNDP partnership for the SDGs. As I mentioned to you before, is the head of Civil Emergency Preparedness Department in the Ministry of Interior, Director General of Fire Rescue Service of the Czech Republic, Directorate, sorry, not Director General. And he has a huge experience. I think you are online. If you can tell me if you are online.
Yes, I am.
Great, very nice to see you. So he has a great experience in different areas of civil emergency planning, also work on programs for the EU and in terms of civil protection for the EU, and with acting as a national also delegate to Civil Emergency Planning Committee and Civil Protection Committees in NATO. So a huge experience in this area. He has been one of the negotiators of the EU Civil Protection Mechanism. He's also responsible for disaster loss data, civil protection, knowledge network, and cooperation on Sendai framework and reporting. So that's also very interesting for the presentation today to know that. And currently is implementing a project reviewing the disaster risk management strategy for Moldova, which is funded by the expertise on-demand component of the Czech UNDP partnership for SDGs. So very happy to hear from you, and the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. As you can see, my presentation would be on the UNDP partnership for SDGs. And then there are a few slides dedicated to the project, which was already mentioned. And also I'm having a separate part for the context of the COVID-19 crisis, because it's also part of the project, and at the moment it gives us pretty lots of work. So I will ask for the next slide. The expertise on demand is a component of Czech UNDP partnership for SDGs, and the Czech expertise is shared through, let's say, passing of experience and trainings into our partner countries. And it includes technological assistance, expert consulting, preparation of feasibility studies. We are also specialized for on-site trainings, and we are making these study trips or professional internships. Next slide, please. Here you can see some of the numbers. If I'm not mistaken, some of them were also presented already by Konstantin. Thank you for that. I will repeat some of them once more. So we are having 6 main partner countries, but there is also a possibility for other ones. Those countries are Bosnia and Herzegovina, Cambodia, Ethiopia, Georgia, Moldova, and Zambia. And it is expected to extend the countries also for the Eastern Partnership countries. The experts are assigned for 90 days assignments. So we are able during those 3 months to, let's say, establish really a good partnership with our partners, and we are able to work during those 90 days to work on the changes and on really to have the aim on the needs of the countries. Of course, the important number is 365 because the country offices are available for whole the year, and I would like to thank to the country offices who are cooperating with us as the international experts really on a daily basis and very well. And at the moment, there we are running like 25 projects which are being implemented at the moment. 2 of them are regional ones. I will ask for the next slide. So let me introduce the project in which I'm working at the moment. And it's about the updating of the draft national disaster risk management strategy of Moldova, as was already mentioned. We are working in a pretty, let's say, nice big team of 3 international experts and 2 national experts from Moldova. And the objective of the project is pretty broad because we are trying to create and develop the national DRR strategy. And also we are trying to prepare the action plan of the DRR strategy with the tasks for the state administration. Also, we have been elaborating a separate section on COVID-19 and dealing with the preparedness and the response for the COVID-19. And to be honest, at the moment, the Czech Republic has really broad experience with dealing with COVID. As far as last 2 months, we had really nearly the most infected people in whole the Europe. So we made lots of measures and we are evaluating the measures. So new informations are coming. Next slide, please. This is kind of the opportunities of the project for the ones who are looking for the slides. Well, they can see the same bullet points as on the last slide, but don't worry, I'm not going to speak about them. It's the old version of the presentation, so sorry for that. So the opportunities of the project are, there was a topic was chosen very well and with a very good timing due to the national needs and state of play, because with the recent pandemics, everyone, even the population, even the politicians, are knowing about, let's say, whole the disaster circle and the needs to enhance the crisis management. Also, the global credit of the DRR is increased by the recent pandemics. There are fundamental gaps in DRR in Moldova, which we are trying to, let's say, uncover and to change partially. Also, at the moment, there is raised awareness of the population and the politicians on the project. There is potential to reach high-level results with minimum efforts in some of the areas, especially, let's say, public awareness and the education. And last but not least, this is very non-conflict topic for everyone with society-wide acceptance. Next slide, please. What are the challenges and risks of the projects? Different understanding of the common terminology without acceptance of international standards. This is one of the worst ones, because all the administration tries to use their own terminology, which very often is not in connection with the internationally used terminology. We have discovered that the national inputs for different areas are incomparable. To let's say, speak a little bit more about it, the methodologies for disasters for different topics are being measured differently, and therefore it's very difficult then to go to some results when other methodologies are being used. Also, we were dealing with the change of national opinion and expected results. So we made, let's say, one draft layout of the strategy. It was changed completely, which was quite challenging, but I think we are dealing pretty well with that. And of course, some of the DRR measures are very expensive. So last but not least challenge is the financial constraints of some of the tasks. Next slide, please. How the COVID-19, or what the COVID-19 made with the project. There was a loss of personal contact of the whole team, and we are very commonly getting in contact only through the video conference. Also, there is a loss of personal responsibility, because as the people does not meet too much, so the, let's say, procrastination or prolongation of some terms is much easier. It's much easier to write down a mail, okay, I'm not able to give the results, or I'm late with my results, than to tell it at the personal meeting. Of course, it changed the routine of project execution, and we are really missing the possibility to go to the country where we are making the project and to discuss personally with the people. So we are speaking with the national stakeholders time to time, but there it takes really very long time with the interpreter on the international on the internet connection. Also, there is a risk of temporary loss of key people from the projects because they were quarantined, or some of them, or one of them, even went through the COVID and really did not feel very well. So it took him something like 10 days to get rid of it. Next slide, please.
Can I ask you to try to be fast concluding, if that's okay with you?
Yes, it happens to me very often that I'm too long. So the opportunities of the projects, at the moment, the opportunity for the project is that lots of language proficient experts are available at the moment, because it stopped the traveling, the COVID-19, and they are sitting at home and waiting for anything. So this is one of the biggest opportunities which could be visible on it. And also for my area of emergency preparedness, the COVID-19 changed the common understanding of risk reduction necessity, and there is a wish to work in this area. Basically, the rest you can see on the slide. So next slide, please, which is the final one. I would like to thank you for your attention, and for the ones who know very famous Czech, let's say, fairy tale person, the mole. You don't have to need to worry, because our best scientist is working on the vaccine for the coronavirus. So don't worry.
Thank you very much. Still, I wanted to ask you before I move to the next speaker, your views on what could we do more to share these lessons on challenges and opportunities with other partners and with other countries. I think it was very interesting, and even the way you framed in a very systematic way what are the challenges, the opportunities of all these in the face of. What else could we do more to share those lessons and opportunities, in your view? Very briefly.
Sure, I will try. So, you know, there are dedicated web pages to the COVID, and there are plenty of them, like WHO and many other institutions are having their informations with the methodologies, with the manuals, which are terribly long, which I think makes a problem. So the very easy way would be to make really a brief information with the possible measures in several areas, if possible. So even it could be translated into the language to the country where it should be used, because there is a big problem that not so many people understands English very well, and they do not understand then what is offered to them. And also there is a big mess of information, and it's very difficult to choose which are the correct ones and which ways are the correct. So I think that the informations are too detailed, and it has to be made just some resume of the measures which would be provided to the partners.
Thank you for sharing your ideas on this. I would now move to the next speaker, so the last one, and after that we will open for questions. As you saw, we already presented several different experiences. We will have now Firuz coming in. I hope to see your video very quickly.
Yes.
Yes. So Firuz is Senior Economic Development Officer at UNDP Tajikistan. He has more than 10 years of experience working in international organizations on public financing management, entrepreneurship development, youth and gender empowerment. And previously, he worked in governmental agencies, UNDP, World Bank, and other organizations. So, Firuz, we will be very happy to hear from you.
Thank you very much, and many thanks to organizing for inviting and organizing such a platform where we can share our experience on behalf of like a beneficiary, on beneficiaries' perspective. Today I will be presenting briefly our experience, like specific experience on involving Russian expertise for the development in the case of UNDP Tajikistan. Of course, we have a good experience of involving other expertise as well, including like from the Czech Republic. But today I will be mostly presenting some results, lessons learned from involving of Russian expertise. If it's please, next slide, please. Here are presented some key facts of partnership with on involving Russian expertise. It started booming from 2017 when the Russian Experts on Demand initiative was launched, and several projects from the Russian Trust Fund for Development was funded, and around 28 experts were involved into the date, and you can see some photos from the process of sharing experience, exchange of experience. And areas of expertise varies from sustainable economic development, tourism, trade, to innovation and digital technologies, as well as entrepreneurship development and hydrometeorology. Next slide, please. Let me elaborate a bit on identification process of expertise. We start from consultation with partners. When we see a point of involving foreign expertise, which we see mostly in two pillars. One of them is contributing for the existing development of the sector, and second is to identification of new growth points or new areas of expertise in emerging markets. And we consult with several stakeholders, including governmental agencies, private sector companies, academia, and others. Next slides will be related mostly to the results of involving expertise for the development. Here I mentioned some key results. For example, we conducted analysis on youth entrepreneurship in development in Tajikistan, which resulted for the establishment of state business incubator in Tajikistan in 2019. For example, it was a good result that government took this research and recommendation and worked on this implementation, and a state business incubator was launched in last year, and it is operation and involving stakeholders and communities to the innovation and entrepreneurship. Also, we have involved several experts on IT trainings when experts developed curriculums in the case of Tajikistan on educating young people on digitalization, on backend coding, etc. And FUSE, it became a platform, and as a result of one specific case that we involved with one Russian expert who was in Dushanbe for 3 months, teaching young people. Around 50 people were trained, and 11 of them got employed immediately upon the completion of courses. And another can be promoting our Tajik products in Alibaba platform. You see photo of Tajik ties here. This product is the first product in the Alibaba platform from Tajikistan market, so it's also a good result. And last year we were involved with experts on free economic zones, and our ministries and governmental agencies were interested on the development of cluster economy in Tajikistan. And we also conducted several accelerators programs for the young people, etc. Next slide, please. And the second group results is creating platform for exchange of experience, which is very important to collect, to connect people so they can exchange experience and launch their companies, for example, and improve their activities. We organized several study tours to other countries, mostly to the regions of Russian Federation, Czech Republic, Kazakhstan, and others. And as a result, now our partners are continuing exchanging of experience among themselves without our support. Next slide, please. Next slide was mentioned particularly in the presentation of Konstantin. It is when we supported introducing of innovation economy and technological entrepreneurship course into the education process system of our universities in Tajikistan, so that young people can also develop their startups, projects, and could further sell them in local and international markets. So next slide will be related to some photos from the process of exchanging experience and building the capacity of our stakeholders. And next slide. This slide is mostly related for the involvement process from identification of area of expertise where we can involve international experts. Further, we consult with governmental agencies, with other stakeholders, in order to identify and to sustain their results in the future. And then we start like involving, mobilizing experts through our, in a case of Russian Expert on Demand, we rely on the support of our Moscow team, and we also connect our leaders, leaders of the sectors of various sectors in Russia, from Russia, for example. And the process of recruitment and then sharing experience, implementation process, and the final is most important one is ensuring its sustainability. So following up on recommendations that were provided by the experts. And next slide, the final slide will be related.
Can I just interrupt you to ask you one question? Because before you go to the final slide, I think it would be important to also hear from you about this part of identifying the right partners, because that's always a question that everyone has. How can we be sure that we have identified the right partners to deliver on the expected outcomes? So could you share also your experience on doing that with us before you move to the final slide?
Yes, thank you for the good question. And of course, involving relevant partners is a key for ensuring sustainability of each initiative during its implementation and further when we phase out from this initiative. And there are certain criteria like relevance of experience, availability of experts, and contribution from the partners as well, and also ensuring synergies and compliance with UNDP values and principles. If we go to the process, I can tell that it can be like conducting consultations with stakeholders, and here motivation of partner is also key, because if they are motivated, and the reputation of the partners, and involving more people and experts to scale up the initiative in the future.
Thank you. Please continue.
Lessons learned, this final slide. We have some lessons learned, which is, as I already told during my presentation, support from the partnership teams in Moscow or in Czech Republic are all key for involving qualified experts. And it was also good to involve like sector leaders in that countries in order to further scale up and connect stakeholders, relevant stakeholders from your country to other countries. And motivation of the expert is also good because thankfully most of experts which were involved into the implementation of our initiatives, they were very well motivated and shared their experiences. And also matching companies and stakeholders from countries is also good, particularly private sector companies, so they can further continue it without support of the project. And as was mentioned during my presentation, the qualified conducted analysis, like good analysis, can foster development of the sector, as was in the case of young youth entrepreneurship and establishment of business incubator. And the last point is institutional assignments. When you assign with companies, like group of experts, it has an enormous potential, and we are piloting now 2 cases with Russian Expert on Demand initiative. It can be which can scale up positive results in the future. Thank you very much. That's all from my side, and if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer for them.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all the panelists. I think we had a quite comprehensive range of experience, expertise, ideas, suggestions, lessons learned and shared, and identification of opportunities and challenges, even related to COVID. I would like to open now the floor to some minutes of questions, and then we will see if we have still time for small breakout sessions where we could discuss more the impact of COVID in the way we are deploying development expertise. I see already one hand raised. Alexander, if you could identify yourself and also say if your question will be directly to all the speakers or just one of them, that facilitates my role as a moderator here and timekeeper. So
okay, thank you, Anna. I'm Alexander Averchenkov, Trust Fund Manager for Russian Partnership. I'd like to thank all presenters. Very good presentations, very interesting, very important topic. I have a question to Firuz, basically two questions to Firuz. One is, what is trend in accordance to your assessment on engagement, international expertise, not just Russian expertise, but in general? How many experts, international experts, engaged through specific instruments like expert on demand or through routine procurement and the projects? So what's the trend for last 5-7 years? Is it increasing sharing of expertise and engagement of international experts, or it's decreasing due to budget constraints, etc.? And second question is regarding proportion between specific targeted expertise engagement through expert on demand and for routine for in general in your program or in office in general. So, for example, in Russian case, as you show at your slides, one of your slides, 30% through targeted tools and 60% through routine procurement. What is proportion for our donors for our project portfolio? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexander, for the direct questions and for being brief also. I really appreciate that. I'm trying to check here if there are other questions raised, so we could take 2 or 3 before passing to the speakers. I don't see other hands raised for the moment. I see Ksenia, please come in.
Thank you very much, Anna, and thank you, the presenters and all the participants. I have actually a couple of questions, one for Jiri. Jiri, thank you very much. Very nice pictures, and I like them very much. And I have a question. So do you think that the loss of this offsite interaction opportunities can pose such a threat to scaling up the positive effects of expertise? Because, you know, in the modern world, with all the digital tools that we all have, like Zoom and other communication methods, is it really such a threat? What do you think? And the second question I have for Angela. Angela, thank you very much for presenting the Romanian side of the expertise sharing. My question is, how do you wish, and how maybe there are some projections of how you can scale up the positive effects of the existing modalities, like the Mobility Fund for Experts? Do you wish to explore these opportunities further, or maybe you have some other possibilities of expertise deployment in the future? Yeah, that is all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I don't see other hands raised, but we already have a lot of questions because each participant raised several questions. And I also see another question in the chat. So if you don't mind, Firuz, I would start by you. Several questions addressed to you, so if you can answer. There was also a question in the chat to you, which is the following. Can you share your knowledge on smart approaches to motivation of experts? And if that's a question that you will need half an hour to answer, I would advise you to share where people could find more information or enter in contact directly with the EOIRI, because I think this is a quite comprehensive question that is very interesting, but it might require a lot of time to go on details. So I'm just conscious of the time here. And then I would ask Yuri to come in because there was also questions to you, and then Angela, and then in the end I will ask also Konstantin if he would like to add any comments related to questions that were presented. Okay, so Firuz, over to you.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you for your question, colleagues, and they are very interesting. And regarding statistics, for the question of Alexander Anatolievich relating to statistics, I cannot tell you like overall statistics for our country office because it's a bit difficult to do it now, but later I can share it with you like personally. But it is growing. It's growing. I can say that definitely it's growing, and the modality of involving, it's mostly individual consultants involving rather than institutional consultants like companies from other countries. So it is like mostly individual experts who are involved mostly for the supporting the development of some sectors. And regarding the another question from the chart on motivation of experts, it's a very important question, and very good when you work with international experts. So to find some motivation in the experts in order to mobilize their resources and contribute for the implementation, in sustainability of initiative. From our case, it was sometimes when we were involving Russian experts. Some of them were living in the past in Tajikistan, for example, their relatives were living or they were grown here, and now they are living in Russian Federation or in relatively other countries of Central Asia. They are mostly motivated to share experience, to come and support other communities in these countries for the development. And also it's good to search for the rising stars who are hungry for sharing experience, for learning, and to see how and going international, let's say. It's two mostly suggestions from my side, and also you can focus on searching sector leaders who have a good extensive experience on working and sharing their expertise.
Yuri, please.
Yes, so I had just one question: if there is a threat when or while existing lots of internet and other possibilities how to contact. You know, basically, as far as I know, the most of the things which are not clear are being solved during the coffee breaks or during the, I don't know, smoking breaks or whatever. And this is what we are really missing. So I think it really also depends on the generation of the experts. The young generation would be much more used for the contacts via WhatsApp and all other possibilities like WebEx, Teams, whatever. But as far as I'm connecting, let's say for 5-6 conferences a week, I know from my personal experience that it's very easy to switch off the microphone, to switch off the camera, and you never know if the people are listening to you or not. And this might be the problem. Therefore, I think that at least, let's say 1 or 2 personal contacts during the projects are very important. And also some, let's say, small talks like after or before the conferences are very important to know the real problems, because on a bike fora the people are sometimes shy to tell that something is wrong or whatever, but they will tell you it on a coffee or whatever. So this is the threat which I'm seeing. But on the other hand, I think that like the online conferences are fine, and they're having like lots of other opportunities as recording, as possibility of chats and so on. So there are pros, but also contras.
Thank you. Angela, over to you.
Yes, thank you for the question, Ksenia. In fact, until now, during these 2 years of activity and 2020, in which we kind of suspended all the expertise transfer actions. So during the 2 years when the Mobility Fund was active, the scaling up was done through the projects proposed in partnership with Romanian public institutions within the annual plan. So it's a consolidated partnership that goes further, and it becomes a project. What we would like to focus on the following years is to have a selection of the sectors in which the Romanian expertise is concentrated, and focus our projects and programs on these sectors that may deploy expertise in various countries. So have some focus sectors to deploy the expertise in the future. And also regarding the modalities, we would like to explore, because from the experience shared by the other colleagues, I consider it would be relevant also for Romania, the secondment of staff for intern programs or volunteering. So these are not yet explored during our short activity of 3 years, but we would like for sure to explore more programs and be more focused, because for the first year it is you want to respond to all the demands of expertise that comes from all over the world and partner countries, and it is difficult to say no, but at a certain point maybe do some focusing would help us increase in quality. And I think one of the challenges is to have a strong relation with the experts from the public institutions that deploy this expertise, and maybe prepare them in developing skills that are so necessary when you share expertise, because it's not enough to be a good professional or expert in your field of expertise, but when it comes to sharing it, you need also some other skills, and we've seen that this is also very relevant. And if you we would like to also pay attention to this aspect in the future.
Thank you, Angela. I think that was very helpful. Before we go to breakout sessions, conscious also of the time, and I see that Keznia is very happy with all the answers that you provide to her questions. I would ask Dagmar to raise the question in the chat, and we can come to that, because we would like to go for breakout sessions now. But before doing that, I would like to ask Konstantin if you would like to add something. And then you would have also the speakers in the breakout groups, and you can raise questions there. Konstantin, you would like to come in or commenting on anything specifically?
Well, I think the answers spoke much for themselves, and the presentations were quite informative. Really, it's because of the pandemic, I think it's natural that we have to adapt, and the modern communication digital technologies are a partial answer to how we do that. But of course, it's not the ultimate solution.
Very good. So I think that's a very good entry point to the breakout sessions now. We will have a very short breakout session of 7 minutes. We will all be participating in those breakout sessions, and the idea is to address the question: how can we be sure that how can we identify the challenges and opportunities in deploying development expertise in the context of COVID-19? And then how can we scale up the lessons learned from that? I think we had already good ideas coming from Yuri on this, but it would be important also for you to chat. Try to be very active, and so silent mode is not the good way of starting the breakout session, because we need to really be very efficient. So please interact. You would be now assigned to the different groups. You just need to click in the button to go to the other room, as you know, and then you would be immediately coming to plenary after 7 minutes. So we are back. So should we start by reporting back? I would ask you to be very brief so we can conclude the seminar in time. In highlighting the main points of your discussion. So we would like to start. I have here the list of participants. I think still waiting for other colleagues.
Yes, I think we kind of lost some people on the way. I think they're joining back now. But I think, Nastya, could you say some of the points that you just raised? I think they were really good points, especially the last one.
Yeah, thank you, Saran. We had a group of 5 and somehow not everyone could connect. So we were Denise, Ivan, Saran, Mehmet, and me. And basically, as a positive group, we focused on the positive things, that in the new reality, the costs are much lower because the travel costs are not included. And also we discussed that experts who are very busy with various tasks, they are more available to connect. And once you have a series of webinars, a series of calls, you can establish basically the same rapport that you would do during the coffee breaks. So we didn't see the much difference. As I said, we were the positive group. And also, basically it all boils down to the fact whether you are interested in the topic that is being discussed or not, because frankly speaking, even during the in-person interaction, you can be in your phone doing some other things. So yeah, we are looking into the bright future, and we think that COVID has learned us a lot. And when the pandemic is over, if that ever happens, we truly see a combination of the pre-COVID approaches and the current approaches. So I don't think we would ever be coming back. So that was basically it of our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Should I call now on the next group? In my group, it was Eva. Eva, would you like to come in?
Yes, sure. Thank you. So in our group, we basically agreed that there are many opportunities to this new situation we find ourselves in, and especially with regards to the travel budget, as there are no travel budgets for the institutions, maybe more people can connect to the meetings, maybe not only the senior ones, but also the people who are usually in the background. So you have more opportunities to learn new things as well. And as far as the challenges, well, we think that it's, as it was mentioned in the presentations already, it's not easy to discuss something within certain deadlines. You are also waiting for answers, maybe a little bit longer than usual, and it's not really as effective as the in-person meetings could be. But I think we all have to somehow get used to this new situation and make most of it.
Great. I can also ask now, Kizinia has raised the hand. I hope you were in one of the groups and you would be reporting back. That's my understanding.
Yeah, I would like to report on the results of the discussion of our group. We were less optimistic than Anastasia, but we also had a very fruitful discussion on how COVID created challenges and opportunities. And, you know, we outlined one problem that really exists, and that is crucial for some assignments, because, you know, not every assignment can be implemented with the use of modern technological tools. For example, if it is something purely technical that requires the presence of the expert or a group of experts, it makes it really hard to transfer the expertise, because when there's no opportunity of travel and off-site missions, it can be really, you know, very bad for the implementation of the assignment. So there is this problem, and also the problem of the stakeholders, cooperation with stakeholders, especially with the countries of the CIS, can be really hard without the presence. So there are these two problems that we outlined, but at the same time, there is another issue that is purely technological. For example, not every country has very stable access to internet. For example, there are some problems in Turkmenistan with that. And so the access is restricted. And it can also boost the development of technology. So it is definitely an obstacle, but still it is a huge opportunity for further development. Yeah, so this was pretty much the wrap up of our discussion, and then we return to the main session. Thank you very much. Over.
Thank you so much. I would ask now the group of Angela to report back. Angela, or someone from the group of...
Okay, we were five persons in our small group. Frankly speaking, we didn't discuss much about COVID-related issues, but it was, in fact, a Q&A session on experience of Romanian aid agency, geographic priorities, private sector engagement, and cooperation with UNDP. So it was interesting and like a follow-up to Angela's presentation during the main session. So it was interesting to see that rural agency, being a young agency, quite actively and extensively working with countries in Europe and Central Asia, but also with Africa as well. So it was interesting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you did a good use to the exchange of experiences in the breakout session. So that's very interesting to know that you used the time for that. So Sydney, would you like to ask someone from your group to come in here?
Yeah, I can, or I can just relay what was said very briefly. I know that we have Tom, or maybe I can call on Natalia. Natalia, you're our big speaker, so please.
Thank you, Sydney. I'm a big speaker. Our small group consisted of my colleagues who is dealing with program experts on demand, expertise on demand, and so on in different format. And we just talking about how we scale up the program, how we implement our programs in new reality, in online modalities, and despite of many circumstances in our in our work, we are doing our best to transform the programs in online format and to save the connection between colleagues even in online format. And our program is demanded, our programs, I mean programs implemented by my colleagues also, are in demand of country offices in the region and beyond, and we see the demand from 2017 because our experience is 4 years lasted, and we will continue the programs in line format, and I agreed with Anastasia that in our bright future, we hope that we will combine the several modalities, online and offline format in combination. Briefly, that's it.
Thank you so much, Natalia. Very nice also to hear from the discussions in the group. Would I like to ask now the group of Firuz?
Yes, I can request Veronica to contribute. Oh.
Sure, of course. I'll be brief because of the time constraints we have. In our group, we obviously acknowledge a lot of opportunities that technologies bring to the currently deploying the expertise. But as Ksenia's group, we were all also rather negative and a little bit pessimistic in our discussion, because concurring what Ksenia mentioned, it depends on the subject and the specificity of different projects. So for the technical projects, you probably need experts to go and be on the ground. And our discussion was most about volunteers. And we see that volunteers were very often young people exchanging online. On one hand, it's easy, but on the other hand, it doesn't really bring and build community. And it's not really the experience that the young people need, only the technical exchanges. So we see that the current situation is putting on hold a lot of interest and of young people to participating in those projects. That's it, more or less.
Thank you, Veronica. Very, very good. Last but not least, the group from Eric.
Thank you. I will pass probably the floor to Dagmar because I have been speaking enough and I'm speaking too long. So if Dagmar can make just a short conclusion of the group, I would be very glad.
Thank you very much, Jiří, for the floor. Yes, our group was pretty mixed, not if it comes for nationalities, because we were 3 Czechs there, and Armenian colleague and colleague from Belarus. And we were quite mixed. On one hand, we see this as an advantage to have this online communication. On the other hand, we refer to older and younger generation, but I don't like this division. So that's let's put it that all groups perceive it differently. But we also agreed, just to sum up, that there are multiple complications or multiple obstacles for implementing good projects now. It's not only COVID-19, it could be also other, if you given the situation that we had colleagues from countries, as I mentioned. So that's it. So not only COVID, but we have to also cope with other obstacles. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for being brief. Also, I see that Konstantin would like to come in here because he raised his hand. Very briefly, Konstantin, so then we close the seminar.
Thank you. Just a short comment, basically to add to other speakers that we still believe that this pandemic sooner or later has to be contained. So we have to think strategically also beyond the situation, the emergency situation that we have now. And also in countries that are experiencing the lack of technologies to help invest into digital technologies in those countries. Thank you.
Very good. I think we will conclude now. From my side, if I may, Saran, just to say some words before we close. Thank you so much for a rich discussion. Thank you, the speakers, but also all the participants for all the questions, the engagement. We try to go also on breakout groups to allow more interaction with the speakers. So I think, I hope that was also very good for you. As you know, at the OECD, I coordinate a work area that is about thinking about the future and preparing for the future. It's about outreaching beyond OECD members, and it's about supporting policy reforms, and reforms in the context of crisis are even more challenging, but they are needed. And I think what we hear from you is that crises are sometimes opportunities to rethink the way we work. We are also doing that at the OECD level, at the institutional level, to see how can we work differently. I think you mentioned digital, but it's also a message that I think it's coming across all of us, is that alone we cannot face it, and alone we cannot overcome it. So partnerships are even more important than ever, and you know, the impact of those partnerships and working together to scale up innovative solutions to the same problems that we face around the world are very important. So all of us, being you know, donors or not being donors, being providers of development cooperation or not, we all face the need to learn, and we all face the need to learn in specific areas. So deploying technical expertise is a must. It's not a need anymore, it's a must, because we need to get better globally to address some of the challenges that we have globally. And that for that, we need technical expertise, and we need, of course, to be inclusive, you know, technical expertise to different areas of our population, our citizens, and working beyond also governments would be very interesting. So thank you so much for sharing that. The OECD will continue committed to partner with the UNDP and all of you to advance this agenda of reforming and improving development cooperation. And I would like to say that reforming and improving is not something that is a process, is an attitude. So if all of us are in that path of working together to get better in what we do, then I'm sure we're gonna achieve better policies for better lives, which, you know, it's the logo of the OECD. But we need to work together. So that will be my message. Again, thank you so much. And I will pass now the floor to Saren, our other partner on this workshop. And it was a pleasure to hear from all of you. I took a lot of notes, and I'm sure our colleagues also did for follow-ups on the aspects that you raised.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you to our those words, and I completely agree. Only together we can overcome the challenges we face. So yeah, partnerships is the way forward, and that is our future. Thank you so much to all our speakers for being here today with us, and thank you to all the participants for the wonderful discussions we've had. And we will continue our discussions beyond the ODA series. However, for next week, we will have our grand finale of the ODA Learning Series 2020. So please do join us on Thursday, 11 a.m. Istanbul time. Our topic is engaging private sector for development, and we will be hosted by Veronica, who's on the call here. So yeah, please do join us, and please register for the webinar. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Sarah, let's just put the cameras on and take a picture. I think it's always good to see.
I know, it looks wonderful, right? When people turn on their camera, it's so great, you know, that this blackness. So darkness, yeah.
So let's take just a picture very briefly, those of you that can put the video, because sometimes there are technical
yes, of course.
So I don't know, I just see you, Sarah, now. I don't know, I just see you in the big
No, we see everybody. If you go on gallery view, yeah.
Okay, yes, you're right, gallery view. I forgot to do that.
Yes, great. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, bye-bye.